Do you feel that your audience is bored during your presentations? I'm going to share with you some tried and true audience engagement strategies that you can use to keep your audience engaged from start to finish. And if you stay tuned to the end of this video, I'm going to share with you my top 10 productivity hacks that you can use to even be better at what you do. Hi, if you're new here, welcome. My name is Adriana Girdler. I'm a productivity specialist, a professional speaker, and a TEDx presenter. With all my experience on stage, I have mastered audience engagement, and I would like to share with you these tips so you can be an engaging presenter too. Raise your hand if. Ask a series of raise your hand if questions. So depending on where you are in your keynote, sometimes I'm asking stuff and I say, have you ever experienced this? Raise your hand. It just allows for people to be engaged, particularly when you have extremely large groups. There's no way you're going to have more intimate interaction. So sometimes the raising your hand if is a great way to ensure that your audience is engaged and participating. Get loud. Now, this is an interesting one because I've been a participant of this and have experienced it, and I've done it myself. So I think it's a little bit of a fine line as to when you use the get loud technique. So if you have a really important point that you want to stress within your presentation and you want them to also remember it, then I highly recommend the get loud. Okay, everyone, repeat after me. Continuous improvement, right? So whatever it is to tie it in. But I've also had people as a participant say, roar like a tiger, and I just found it didn't connect with me. So be really careful with this because sometimes it can turn your audience off. If you're making a point to stress something that is really something you want them to remember, then yes. If it's just to roar to make noise, I'm gonna lean you away from that. So play this one by ear. Were you ever a participant at a keynote and someone asked you to roar like a tiger and it maybe didn't sit with you? I'm curious to know if that's ever happened and what your impression is. Please let me know in the comments below. Sit down if. Now this one is very similar to raise your hand if. However, I'm going to recommend that you really think about when you use this. Again, usually in keynotes when you're presenting, they're usually to large groups of people. So this one I've used, but I do it in the beginning. So I usually ask people when I'm first starting off, okay, everybody, how are you doing? Yay, woohoo! All right, everybody stand up. Right away, that gets really good engagement. And now I want to find out from you, how many of you are from this industry? Because depending on my keynote, whom I'm speaking to, I may have multiple people, multiple industries. I find that information out prior to, by the way, with the person who's hired me. And then I ask the question, okay, who's from healthcare? If you're from healthcare, sit down. If you're from blah, blah, blah. You want to be neutral with these questions. You don't want to have someone left standing alone on a very serious question where then all eyes are on them. That's not fair. But you can use this technique as a little bit of an icebreaker too. It gets people out of their seats and they become very engaged at the beginning. Prop it up. So using props is a great way to engage your audience. You just don't want to be talking. Again, a picture's worth 1,000 words, and one of the props that you can use is just that, a picture. So a lot of times in my presentations, that's all I have is a picture, particularly if I'm trying to make a point, or if there's a series of points that I want to make. I can even have a picture go through a series of stories, which is really cool and a great way to do it. You can also use actual props too. Now, I haven't done this, but I've seen it done where people have used a beach ball. Not a bad idea, fun, engaging. It depends on what you're doing, but sometimes it can be slightly distracting with what it is that you're trying to present and who your audience is. But again, props are great if you know who your audience is, and if it's small enough, it can be really cool. Get moving. So if you're standing straight and you're at a podium and you're talking, it becomes very boring no matter how awesome your content is. Even if you're engaged facially and you have expression, you're at a podium, it's boring, unfortunately. Move around, move on your stage, go into the audience. I always say, make sure I have a wireless mic when I'm speaking because I get in the audience. I'm actually at the back of the room. In fact, when I kick it off, I go, hey, how's everybody doing? Hope you're doing well. Guess what? I got a wireless mic. So for those of you in the back, I'm going to get to see you too during this keynote. And it's a great way to keep people on their toes. They're paying attention, right? So I walk around, share the information. They start turning around to follow me as well, which is a wonderful engagement technique. So if you have ability to go into the audience, do it. If you're too large of a group or you can't get off the stage properly, then stay on the stage but move on that stage. Really important for engagement. You want to address all sides of the room. Take questions. Now, usually at the end of every keynote, there's a Q&A portion, but sometimes people don't actually use it. But that's okay, you can have it. But you can integrate and inject questions throughout your keynote. Now, one of the things I do highly recommend is be careful. When you take questions, you're going to be adding more time to your presentation. So if you have a 45 or an hour slot and you're like bang on 45 minutes to an hour, then don't take questions because it's totally going to throw you off kilter and you're not going to be able to finish your presentation. You have to give about 5 minutes for question time, and it's depending on how you do it, but it's a cool way to really get people engaged. Check it out, try it. Now, do you have any questions for me in regards to what I've just spoken about, or any thoughts that you want some extra clarification on? Write them in the comments below. Now that you mastered this audience engagement activities, some real cool stuff, I would like for you to go to the link below and download my Master Productivity Hacks. Because I promise you, not only being a great keynote presenter and engaging your audience is also your preparation and being productive with all that. Got some really cool tips in here. On that note, I want to thank you for watching my video. Please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and share it with all the people that you know that want to be master presenters. I wish you all the best. Looking forward to your comments, and at the next video, I'll see you then.